Hello everybody, it's George from Ireland. Welcome back to my channel. So this video is about the United Kingdom, its attempt to stop foreign care home workers coming to the country. Now, this comes in the wake of that Runcorn by-election, that shock result that Reform UK defeated Labour in a safe Labour seat. I mean, Labour's held that for about a century, and it's particularly galling for Labour to lose it, not even a year after their landslide general election victory. So Reform UK had a very respectable showing in that seat in the general election, and they've actually won it. I know by way for thin margin, but all right. In by-elections, turnout's about 30%. This is silly season. These parties can very often take safe seats in by-elections, but they almost always lose them at the subsequent general election. So it'd be rash to read too much into that result. Nevertheless, Labour is scared, close to panic stations on the immigration issue, and they're caught between popular opinion, which believes that immigration needs to be severely scaled back, and then the loony left, which is the Labour Party, open the borders. That any attempt to control immigration at all is racist, and that if we don't allow 1 million people in a year, then that's genocide or something like that. Now there may well be an Aristotelian golden mean between the two polar positions. And I'm not one of those people who usually sits on the fence, but I'm afraid on this one I have to be, that I don't want unlimited immigration, and I don't want no immigration. That's undesirable. I recognise the unworkability of the nightclub attitude of a full nightclub, one in, one out, which Reform UK wants. And Reform UK wants net zero immigration, and they know unnecessary immigration, even they recognise as necessary in some sectors. Something like a very high percentage of doctors in the United Kingdom and nurses are from abroad. I can't remember, or is it 30% or 40%? Which one it is? It's serious. There would be no national health service. There wouldn't much private healthcare either if it weren't for them. So care home workers for often elderly people, we used to call them nursing homes, or sometimes severely disabled people, unglamorous work, not terribly well paid, demanding. Now some of these are sweet old people, are very appreciative. Some of them have got senile dementia and just can't be grateful. They might in terrible pain, and when you're in pain, you're not polite. And some people have all sorts of psychiatric disorders. It's not actually psychiatric hospital as well, or physical disabilities. And it's frankly, it's dirty. I mean, it's having to change them, see unsightly flesh in the nude, help them go to the lavatory, wash them, all the rest of it. Rather dispiriting when they die after a year or so in these care homes on average. But not to recruit them from abroad. All right, get British people to do it. Can you get British people to do it? Because there are millions of people. It's a shocking percentage. It's like something like 10% of working age adults in the United Kingdom are not working or are disabled. And the number of disabled people has increased, I believe it's 38% since COVID, working age adults who are too sick to work because of their mental health. Now, mental illness is not new, but why has it mushroomed? There's so many people who are too ill, too stressed, too desperate, too depressed to work. But if you slob around, guess what? That's rather dispiriting. Get up off your ass and go and achieve something. Your work or your staff. How about that? I come from the top, the whole school of psychiatry. I'm an amateur psychiatrist, as you can tell. You know, self-appointed. So I think they're going to really struggle to get people to do this because, oh, you know, we mustn't stress them out. We must make it easy. Everyone's got special educational needs, and you have this disorder, so we'll give you extra time, and you don't have to sit in the same exam room as everybody else, and you can get a taxi to college paid for by the taxpayer because for psychological reasons you can't get on the bus. We mollycoddled people. We've turned loads of people into wimps. And I'm not saying most people below the age of 30 or whatever are like that. No, there's some completely tough, but they're less tough than generations before. And I realize a generation older than me, they had it perhaps too hard, harder than I did. Two generations before had it much harder than I did. But with there comes a point when we're actually going a bit too easy on people and making it a cop out. We've made it an option to avoid work, to be on benefits as a career. So Labour is not going to have the balls to say no more universal credit, your worker, your staff, to reduce over 50,000 lower skilled workers. And where are all these people who are going to, in the UK, going to work as cleaners or chambermaids or as farm labourers? It's back-breaking work, stooped over in the mud on a cold day, it's windy, it's raining, picking up potatoes or whatever it is. Not a lot of fun. Okay, and even as the same amount of money, people would rather work in Starbucks or something. So a lot of rich people just won't do that work, and it's so easy to get away with. Whereas a generation ago, that they would have done, because partly because there was no option and so on. So want to substantially reduce this, but I think that the care home sector has enough difficulty filling its jobs anyway. And I know a Cuban guy who works in a care home in London. He's delighted with it. He's come from a country where he didn't get any disposable income. For the first time, he does. He's willing to work 60 hours a week, and so he's got a fantastic work ethic, and there are not that many Britons with that. And remember, half of young people are going to university, coming up to £70,000 in debt, and they want to be earning more than £12 an hour. We realise, of course, that many of these degrees, they don't add to your earning potential at all. In fact, a degree in real terms is costing some people £150,000 if you factor in the lost potential earnings, what they would have made earning for those 3 years full time rather than studying, and so forth. Also capping this. Now, Chris Philp, the Conservative spokesman on this issue, says it doesn't go far enough. But I think we're living in cloud cuckoo land if they really think they're going to get a significant number of people to work in that sector short term without changing the incentives around, incentivizing work and disincentivizing being lackadaisical. So there's all this state subsidized indolence. People on these handouts on the dole universal credit. So Reform UK have got the right idea on this one, and perhaps surprised they won in a place called Runcorn, where huge numbers of people are on benefits. But they would say, we're going to take away your benefits, you're going to cut your benefits. There are other things we need to do, think the unthinkable, and that's raise the age at which people get to retire. 67, they're not physically crocked anymore. They say 70 is the new 50. We don't need physically demanding jobs or other things. I mean, I actually agree with Labour on the winter fuel allowance if it's been tested. Multimillionaires don't need it, and it's not just multimillionaires are losing that winter fuel allowance for elderly people. It's people on fairly high incomes of over £100,000. A targeted benefit are those who actually need it. But because the silver vote, elderly people are much more likely to vote than younger people. Therefore, they really assert their rights, and politicians are afraid to anger them. The Conservatives found this in 2017 when Theresa May was talking about reducing the state pension. Well, the Conservatives had to row back on that one pretty fast, but the damage was done. It was why they didn't win that election comfortably. Whereas, politicians, they can make university fees even higher, and they know that people in their late teens, early 20s, not enough of them will vote to affect the outcome of the election. So whilst I do realise the United Kingdom is not going to bring down immigration, I'm not sure this is the right way to do it. Was net need 900,000 the year before last, net 730,000. It's going in the right direction. One thing is it includes foreign students, the great majority of whom come to the United Kingdom, do a course, and then leave. So if we take those out, it's more like 500,000. So is the situation is not as bad as people like to think, but yes, it is still bad. And I don't mind net immigration to the UK. 100,000, 200,000, that could be good. Depends on the individuals. Are they not criminals? Great majority of them are not. Are they contributing economically? Yeah, most of them are. Fine. But there has to be an upper limit, and I don't know what it is, whether 300,000 or 400,000 is too high. And what skill set are they bringing? But I mean, you've got to make Britons do those low-paid jobs, those dead-end jobs. Somebody's got to do them. And so you've got to make people want to do it, or indeed simply remove the option not to work. You will work or you'll starve. It is that simple. It's a binary choice. We do not owe you a living. I owe nothing to those who refuse to support themselves. Right. Thank you for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon. Donate to PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. Goodbye.